Now, I know you've mentioned the term Scrum a few times now, and just for people who are listening who might not know that term, can you kind of briefly describe what Scrum is, what Agile is?
Sure. So Scrum and even Agile overall is a way of team for a team to organize to approach work. So there's a lot of different, we could call them different flavors of it, depending on who you're talking to at the time. But overall, what it has to do is everybody on your team has a specific job to do within that team. So you have your software developers, you have your QA agents, you have your Scrum master, you have your product owner. And the big thing to keep in mind, especially in Scrum, is that even though everybody has their own role, nobody's actually the leader. The team works kind of on a flat hierarchy. No one reports up to anyone. In the organization, you're still going to report up to someone. But within the team, everybody works together. The team decides what work comes in. And we call them sprints, but it's basically a 2 week window of work being completed. 2 weeks is kind of subjective depending on the team you're on. But overall, Scrum is highly highly adopted within the software development community because it gives everybody that defined role in order to know what they're doing throughout that workflow.
And you had mentioned earlier that this is something that can be used in many different industries. Doesn't have to be software necessarily.
Mhm.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and actually, even Agile itself, because I think it was Kanban specifically. So Kanban is the way of taking in a task, and the idea is Kanban, if I remember correctly, is Japanese for river, and a river always flows in one direction. So the idea is you take a task, it moves forward, it goes from developer to QA. If there's a bug with it, you get a bug task created back in the development, but you never touch that ticket that's in the flow. This actually didn't even come from the software development industry, I should say. I believe this was, I think it was created it was either Toyota or Honda was the one who actually created Kanban way back whenever it was. And I think that a lot of it also was around the time that I don't remember if it predates Lean, but Lean came from the manufacturing industry. So these different industries had their way that they were handling work, and then Agile came along for software development, which was heavily influenced in late 90s slash early 2000s. If you look up the Agile Manifesto, it's the group of gentlemen that got together to really define what it meant for Agile within software development. How things were agreed upon with the team.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Now, first chapter of your book is basically defining what a bite-sized win is.
Mhm.
And I was wondering, can you really briefly explain what is a bite-sized win?
Sure. So this goes back to when I was saying this could be applied to anything. This is not right now we're not even talking about bite-sized tasks. We're just talking about what's a bite-sized win. And a bite-sized win is when you set out to do work and you do it in um, a small definition of the work. So think about, let's go to software development. Let's say you have a big task to deliver. Maybe you have to deliver some sort of widget on your main website that is going to read the mind of your visitor and turn them into a buyer of your product. Maybe this widget doesn't need to be delivered all at one time. Maybe you can deliver a small thing at a time. Like maybe you deliver first, just the outline of where it's going to lie. Maybe you deliver, text over top of it that says under construction, something like that. Just something that as you're going along, you can see it slowly being built up, but what you're delivering is still something that can be of value to your client, whether it's displayed on the website yet or not.
Okay. And this could be something like if I just use a basic example, like if I'm cleaning my condo,
Mhm.
I have the overall umbrella task of cleaning the condo.
Mhm.
But if I break that down, I can break that down into okay, um, kitchen, like take out the trash, wipe the countertops, wipe the cabinets, stove, and
Mhm.
it essentially breaks out down into like those smaller and smaller units. That's like in my mind, all of a sudden it seems more doable. Like it seems less daunting to think about it
Right.
in those simpler things. Is that kind of like the mindset of it?
Absolutely. Because if your goal is to have the clean condo, yes, you're going to over time have that clean condo, but while you're in the middle of cleaning the condo, you're going to say, "Oh, I have more to do. I have more to do." Well, your first goal is, "Okay, I want to take out the trash." Wow, the trash is done. This is awesome. Okay, I want to sort my mail over there. Oh, look at that. The mail is sorted. And then as you're going and you're getting these wins and these things are setting you up to, feel a lot better about the progress of everything, then, you get these bite-sized wins that ultimately deliver your final task of having your clean condo.
That no, that's I, I've heard of this. There's a book out there called The Compound Effect,
Mm,
and it essentially, I think the author's name is Darren Hardy, if I remember correctly, and he talks about, yeah, you snowball like life events into essentially into gaining momentum in your life to then like knock down and like overcome hurdles in your life.
mhm,
And it this this sounds like a similar concept, like you're achieving these small tasks because they're part of the bigger task, but for you to just focus on the bigger task again, it seems almost like insurmountable, like, oh my gosh, I got to clean my whole condo, like, oh, like I don't want to do that, but I can clean, like you said, I can take out my trash right now, and then, oh, cool, that's done. And I can sort my mail, and then I can wipe down my dinner table, and I can vacuum, and then it's like halfway done at that point.
mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just added that book to my reading list. I'm going to look that up because that sounds very similar to what we're talking about here. I'd love to read that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, a lot of it is you have to think back about when you're in school. When you're in school, you don't want to do that big project. But if you have little things to do for that project as it goes on, you do it without realizing that you just did the entire project.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been there before. That's for sure. Yeah, I can think of many examples. Many.
When I was in college, I took this class. It was called Systems Development and Design, and basically the entire course was a project. So you got in a team with, I think it was 3 to 4 other classmates. I think I worked with 3 other classmates, and you come up at within the first week or two of the class, you come up with a pretend implementation that you're going to do. And throughout the course, we learn different things like, Gantt charts and, tasking and things like that. And we really build up to the big picture of having this entire project delivered. So we start at the beginning, a little bit at a time, we're going, going, going. I remember when I took that class, within the first week or two, something happened that we delivered, and I think she didn't like it, and we were getting basically a D on that course. And no matter what we did, we couldn't raise it up from being a D, and we were convinced that she just didn't like us for some weird reason. And so finally, it was two classes left in the semester, and I happened to be at the building early, and I said, she has office hours now. Let me go talk to her. I said, hey, look, you've been giving us D's this entire time. We don't get it. We have a very solid system. It's actually built off of a system that really exists in real life. And she says, oh yeah, in your second week you delivered this, but you forgot to do this with it. I said, that's it. She said, that's it. And I went back and I fixed it, and we ended up getting a B plus in that class. So it was like we were trying to get bite-sized wins the entire semester, but we just kept failing and had no clue. All it took was one conversation, and we fixed everything.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that worked out.